There's two bills which are problematic, one more problematic than the other. The first being the Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Bill, where they are seeking to force political parties to sit and have negotiations and discussions and that kind of thing. It's problematic. It's hinged on the funding that political parties that have representation in Parliament get, that's passed by Parliament. And so the mover of the bill, or whoever sent her to move that bill, to propose and promote this bill, is saying parties that are not part of the National Consultative Forum will not receive funding that is passed by Parliament. That's interesting because National Consultative Forum is a creature of law. I know for a fact that the target has been, especially NUP, that decided to stay away from iPod. And we did give our reasons, but NUP is part of the National Consultative Forum. In fact, we are the vice chairs of the National Consultative Forum, because legally, the party in government chairs, then the leading opposition party seconds and nominates the vice chairperson. And previously, the vice chairperson we had nominated as a party was Honorable Jolly Mugisha. When she passed on, we nominated Councillor Benjamin Katana, who is the vice chairperson of the National Consultative Forum. So we are full members. The new twist they are trying to introduce therein is to say, now let iPod be introduced as an element, more like a department within the National Consultative Forum. The challenge with that is that even legally it's problematic. iPod is an NGO. It's a loose club of willing people. The same way people can choose to be part of whichever club. There are various clubs in this country. You don't force people to be part of a club. Those who are willing can be part of it. But that which is provided for in law, National Consultative Forum, with all its issues and challenges, we are there. Yeah? What we have always said, and what we think that government needs to focus on, as opposed to trying to force parties, you sit, let's talk by force and so on, you show goodwill by doing what is right. Our concern has always been the persecution. Stop persecuting us as leaders in the opposition and our supporters. Release all political prisoners. Let us as political parties, all the different political parties, especially those in the opposition, let them be able to go out there, do mobilization the same way NRM does and so on. That way, you just might entice us to say, okay, you want us to sit on a round table, let's sit. Because there's goodwill out there. But it doesn't make sense for you to say, let's sit, talk, have a cup of tea, take pictures and so on. But tomorrow when we say we are going to Arua for mobilization activity, police and the military will be waiting for us to foil our activities. So those are the things that need to be worked on. Otherwise, don't think you can force people to say, you sit in this room and talk by force. By the way, you could even force them to enter the room. But you're not going to force them to speak, to have genuine negotiations. That cannot be forced. So those who think that these things can be done by law are misguided. You can get a donkey, carry it by force to a well and take it to the well. But you will not force that donkey to drink water. It has got to open its mouth and drink the water. That's what needs to be addressed. The people of Uganda have never said no to a discussion about our country. In fact, we have always wanted that. But what kind of discussion do we want to have about our country? A discussion about good governance. A discussion about transition. You cannot have a leader for 40 years and it gets to be okay. Who keeps tinkering with the constitution, amending it at every turn so as to keep in power? No. And so that's our major take on that, but also the idea that this particular bill, Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Bill and the UPDF Amendment Bill, are being processed hastily, in a hurried manner. This is unprecedented because the bill gets to be read for the first time today and it is sent to the committee. And then you see notices from Parliament and the committee being received by stakeholders saying, we are inviting you to come and give your views about this bill at 9 a.m. But the invitation letter is reaching the office at 8 a.m. And you're saying you want them to come 1 hour later. And you're saying all the input from different stakeholders is closing that very day. That's not consultation, that's envisaged under the law. So there has not been effective consultation on these bills. And that's problematic. That actually goes against the law. And we are challenging that. I raised this matter on the floor of Parliament. And the Speaker said, don't worry, we are going to avail more time. But she was telling a lie. Because over the weekend, the committee has been meeting to write a report. That means consultations from different stakeholders ended. This is unacceptable. Our other concerns with the UPDF amendment bill is that the loyalty of the military courts is not to the Constitution, but to commands from the Chief of Defense Forces, from the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, from the High Command, and so on and so forth. That's where the military courts get to base their loyalty. Their loyalty is not to the Constitution. It is to commands. And that's what makes them very problematic. The Supreme Court was very clear. It said military courts are not envisaged as these ordinary courts. No. The Supreme Court said military courts can and should exist, but to deal with disciplinary issues that arise within the military. That if there's a fellow who doesn't like saluting his superiors, this one is always coming late to work. This one, whenever they're given assignments, they don't execute them, and so on and so forth. That those get to be dealt with internally. Just like any other company, even private ones, they've got disciplinary mechanisms, disciplinary committees and so on, for internal issues. But for any criminal matter, all those have got to be handled by the civilian courts. The law says the High Court of Uganda has got unlimited jurisdiction. And the Supreme Court made it very clear. What I see them trying to clutch onto, saying, well, the Supreme Court said, except in peculiar circumstances that are unavoidable. What are those peculiar circumstances? For any offense that is not provided for to be handled by civilian courts. Those are the peculiar circumstances that can be talked about. But if it is murder, if you're saying a military man has used his gun and killed people, that's murder. It's triable by the High Court. Take him to the High Court, not to the military courts. And that's why we find trouble with what our colleagues are trying to do. Also, these military courts do not meet the threshold of a fair trial before an independent and impartial court that's provided for in Article 28(1) and 126 of our country's constitution. These military courts, they do not guarantee that, because the trial is not fair. It's not impartial. The biggest winners from the ruling of the Supreme Court actually were soldiers, because many of them have for a long time been persecuted by the military courts. When you annoy your boss for whatever reason, he will send you to the court martial, and you have no recourse anywhere, because for them they cannot even complain. At least we, the politicians, we can talk about our colleagues who are being held by the military court, the Machetes, the Asin Kalanzis, and so on. But no one even talks about the numerous military persons that have been tried and sentenced by the military court, and they're there suffering because of persecution. And so we are saying, as we are pushing back against this, soldiers, you need to stand up and be counted. Because this ruling of the Supreme Court was good for you as well. And that's why we are saying this should not just be a matter of the opposition. It should be a matter for all of us in the country, for us to be concerned. Finally, we told you about the 100 million shilling saga. Of course, when we talked about this, you saw some people running quickly saying that is street talk. Those are rumors. Those opposition people, they want to make Parliament look bad. Some even promised to take me to court and other colleagues here. Others said I should apologize together with my colleagues, that we should apologize for saying bad things about our colleagues in Parliament. But with time, the truth did come out. And all those who were making threats went mute. We told you that this 100 million shilling saga, 50 million of that 100 million was to appreciate them for having passed the problematic coffee bill. And the other 50 is to oil them so that they can smoothly pass the UPDF amendment bill. And as you can see, they are rushing it without applying reason, disregarding all manner of laws, no consultation, because money was given. So this thing has to be done very quickly. And that's why they are doing what they are doing. We hope the people of Uganda are watching and are alert. Finally, there has been calls from different sections of the public saying that as the opposition, we should stay away from the sitting tomorrow, which is going to consider these problematic bills. And the reasoning by those who vouch for that view has been that when we attend, we shall be legitimizing the process. Some have even said that when we don't attend, they will not be able to pass these bills, which is actually not true, because the House can continue and process even without us. We, in our meeting this morning, have appreciated all those different concerns, which are out of frustration, because the people of Uganda are frustrated. They want better, they want change, they are tired of oppression. And so it is out of frustration that they are saying, maybe this is what might work. When the sober MPs stay out of the House, when this bill is being passed. That's the frustration that we hear. But we have agreed this morning as a joint opposition caucus that while we do hear all those different views, it's important that we use the platform that we do have, the legally provided for platform that we do have, to push back. Is it going to be easy? Certainly not. But it's a platform that we must be able to use, that we get to be on record. It's important. It doesn't necessarily mean that we shall win. We could win, by the way, but it's not guaranteed. But it's important that we get to have our say on record, so that tomorrow we even have a basis for challenging whatever we would like to challenge. If we choose to go to court, for example, assuming we choose to go to court, because there's several grounds anyway that we can rely on, we shall need a basis, having been present, having had our say on record, and then you use that to challenge, whether it be in court or whatever else. But also importantly, we should not, even with all the challenges that are thrown at us, we should not give up easily. And we'd like to appreciate the people of Uganda who are very resilient. They have been boxed in a corner, they have been persecuted, but they don't stop. And we encourage them to keep fighting. You've heard some people saying, you who talk on Twitter, on social media, and so on, when you talk, what value does it add? We think that it adds value, and that's why we encourage Ugandans, don't keep quiet. No one should tell you don't use that platform, that when you speak on social media, nothing changes. No, it adds value in the grand scheme of things. So don't stop tweeting, don't stop speaking on social media, use those platforms. And it's the same thing we are saying as members of Parliament. Let's use the platform that we have also to push back. No one should take away any platform that is available to us, whether it be to expose, to be on record, to talk about these ills, to push back. Let's use them. So all the platforms that we have, let's use them. That's the resolution we've taken in our meeting today. And we're encouraging Ugandans. You might not be a member of Parliament, so your voice might not be captured on the Hansard. But when you talk about these issues on Twitter, on Facebook, whether it be through a text, whether it be through a video or an audio and so on, it adds value. So let's not stop. Let's all use those platforms. And for members of Parliament, you have beyond just your social media platform. You have this platform in the House. And so we are saying, tomorrow, we are going to use that platform. Good enough, the points of law that we have on our side are very clear. Like we did say during the passage of the coffee bill, we said we shall push back. And we said we shall not move out. If they want, they can move us out. And that's what they did during the coffee bill. You remember? They switched off the lights. They first moved you journalists out. And then they came for us. We said that they can do. But we shall not make it easy for them and move ourselves out. So even in this regard, we are saying we shall be present because our people elected us and they expect us to speak out. Our people know that we have fewer numbers, but they want to hear those few voices speak out loudly. And that's what we are going to do. So we are not going to move out. If they want, they can move us out. They have done that before. You can deploy the SFC and so on, and then they move us out by force. That's really within their hands. But on our end, we are going to use the law, the rules, and we are going to use our space and our platform to speak out so that the voice of the minority gets to be very loud. I thank you.